Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily word. Today is Tuesday, July 6th of the year 2021. Glad you could join me for our few minutes together for our time daily in the word. Sorry I wasn't with you yesterday. Diane and I both took the day off, and so we were doing some other things. Some of you know, and some of you don't know, but we actually bought a new house in the last few weeks, and we closed on Wednesday of last week, and we actually got possession on Friday. And so we've been moving and cleaning and trying to get things ready. And we spent part of the day at Lowe's. You know how that goes when you're moving to a new place. Part of the day at Lowe's and part of the day yesterday at the house, trying to get things ready to move in. So I'm glad you could join me again this morning, though. It's going to be maybe the hottest day of the week today. So I hope you're being careful if you have to be outside doing any work that might happen outside. Could be rather hot today. So hopefully you take care of all of that. Just trying to see to make sure. Okay. So the scripture I've chosen for this morning is from the book of James, chapter 3, verses 13 through 18. And James, in this particular chapter, especially in these verses, talks to us about what it means to have wisdom. And he talks to us about two kinds of wisdom, actually, that we're going to hear in this text. So hear these words, James 3, 13 through 18. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is unearthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. Peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness. So these are interesting words that we hear. I think in our culture and in the ways that we live our lives now, wisdom's a difficult thing. I'm active in social media. I use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those kind of things. And I'm Facebook friends with lots of people. I don't know, 800 people or something, a ridiculous number. Many of them who I don't correspond with. But I see all these things about, well, of course, we continue our political attacks in all these days, which I frankly don't understand, and the way that we attack each other in these days. And sometimes it gets chalked up as wisdom and how we use our wisdom to influence the lives of others. I remember many, many, many years ago when I was the pastor at Greenview Church out in Plattsville, for the children's message, I asked them who they knew was wise. Who did they know that was wise? And they were all sitting around like they do here. And I asked them that question, who do they know who was wise? And they said, Bill Maxon. Bill Maxon is wise. And Bill was sitting up in the choir loft and he laughed. And I think he wasn't sure about that. But the kids saw him as someone with wisdom who lived his life in a certain way. So wisdom, as the writer comes to us, is the crossroads, I think, of knowledge and action. As we seek wisdom in life, we're not only looking for the right way to think, because we think that wisdom is the way of thinking, but it's also, wisdom is the right way to do things. You know, we have this discretion in life and the way that we live our lives and the words that we use. And wisdom can be used improperly. It can be idolized, if you will. We sometimes like to trumpet our wisdom. We do that on social media. We do it from pulpits if we're pastors, or across the table from people who think we think They need to hear our knowledge. We, like me, we like having the right answers. We enjoy having knowledge. And it's a gift for us. Wisdom used in the right way is a gift. It's a gift to be celebrated and shared with those around us. But we have to be careful, as James says to us, about using the gift of wisdom to its fullest ability. Hear what James says to us again. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom. So that kind of wisdom is being able to use what we have, our gifts, our time, our knowledge, all the things that we have to then make a difference in the lives of those around us. And we do that with humility. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition, you're asking for trouble, James says. And then he says such wisdom, and the word wisdom is in quotes, such wisdom doesn't come from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. Those are powerful words. Where you have envy and selfish ambition, there's disorder and evil practice. So there's these two kinds of wisdom, and I think we deal with them all the time in our society especially. But James says, but the wisdom that comes from heaven. Now hear these words. I think they're powerful words for us. The wisdom that comes from heaven is peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere, peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness. Now, if we were to live our lives in that way, if we were to make a difference around all of the people in our lives in that kind of way, imagine the difference we might make. The chance to know God and to love others and to exercise that kind of wisdom is a powerful thing. Together, this kind of wisdom holds the key, James says, to a peace-loving life, a key to living well, if you will. Wisdom, he reminds us, is a great tool that comes with great responsibility. Our wisdom that God's given us should manifest itself in our words and in our actions, in our deeds, in our internal and in our external conversations, in what we think and in what we do. I read an article the other day that kind of speaks to this. The article the other day talked about why we harbor so much hate for each other. And most of it I see is harboring hate politically and about the color of our skin and all those kind of things. You know, I watch on social media and I see people post things that I just want to respond and say, why do you hate so much? I don't, because it's not helpful. Why do you hate so much? Why not use our wisdom to do better things in the world? Why not use our wisdom to change the lives of those around us? And we talked about that yesterday in worship. The idea that when we live in community, when we are like Jesus, the problem he had in his hometown, when our independence and our interdependence on each other are connected, we make a difference in those around us. And wisdom's the same way. God says to us, we show it by our good life in the scripture, by deeds done in humility that come from wisdom. And I think that's a clarion call on us as Christians of how we're called to live our lives. And so I hope that we could take this to heart in such a way that our lives might be lived in a different way, that we would stop with the hatred. Just stop with the hatred. Stop with the anger toward each other. Stop with the malice. Stop with the putting down of people who are different than us. And find ways to use our wisdom. Hear what it says. Peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness. I really want to say to people, just stop. And let's use our wisdom in better ways. Let's use our wisdom to make the world a much better place to live in. And so I hope in my life when I at times, as James says, harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition, that I'll recognize it, have the wisdom to recognize it and push it to the side and use my God-given wisdom to make a difference in the lives of those around us. So it's interesting, Aunt Joe and Aunt Roxy and my mom, 3 sisters, Aunt Joe, you're right, 3 sisters are watching. It's a great thing. It's good that you all do that, and that we have this amazing way technologically to share our lives together. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for hearing this word. Think about how you use your wisdom to influence those around you. And if you're like me, when you find yourself caught up in the selfish ambition, that we'll find ways to push it to the side and allow wisdom that God gives us to make the world a better place. And so we've lived on our street for 3 or 4 years now, and we have great friends there who are sorry we're leaving. And I hope the new street we're living on, that I'll be able to be a purveyor of peace to the neighbors around us. And that'll be my hope and be my goal in the days and weeks and years to come. Have a great day. Know of God's love and presence in your life. Know of my love for all of you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.